we've got some huge news from the NFL where the league and the NFLPA have agreed on a settlement that will now suspend Cleveland Browns quarterback Deshaun Watson 11 games and force him to pay a $5 million fine for violations of the league's personal conduct policy. Watson will also have to undergo mandatory counseling as part of the agreement. Watson apologized and took accountability for his actions while maintaining his innocence. So a lot of back and forth there, Gary. What's your reaction to what is now finally the discipline for Deshaun Watson?
I wanted it to be a year. Let's be clear about this. At best, Deshaun Watson is a creep. At worst, he's a sexual predator. I will never understand why Cleveland went out and pursued this guy and gave him all that money, other than they were just desperate for the talent. I would not want him as the face of my franchise. But all that said, this is how negotiations work. You know, the initial discipline was 6 games. The NFL wanted 17 games. There's no way to split that right down the middle, but this is as close to splitting it down the middle as you can get. It's compromise. That's probably the way this was always going to go, 11 games. But it was disappointing to see the press conference today and Deshaun Watson still, maintain his innocence, because it suggests he still doesn't quite understand what it is he allegedly did.
Well said. Week 13 is when Deshaun Watson will be eligible to return. The Browns be on the road to take on Watson's former team, the Houston Texans. Bengals quarterback Joe Burrow returned to practice over the weekend, Gary, following appendix surgery, and says he's feeling better by the day. But look, this was a pretty serious procedure. He revealed that the appendix had ruptured. This kind of makes sense now, as you saw him when he returned to practice, not to play, but just out of practice. He looked like he'd lost weight. He has lost weight. That's his priority right now. Look, this is the timetable that we understood. It was about getting back around this time. They got joint practices coming up with the Rams to kind of ramp him up. He won't play in any preseason games, but this is probably the best case scenario of what it could have been, probably a even more concerning situation.
Yeah, oddly, I know what Joe Burrow was going through, because my appendix once ruptured as well, and I had to have it removed. Now, he's on a little slower timetable than I was, because I actually participated in the state baseball tournament at the age of 12.
How'd that go, though?
It was the same week that I had the surgery. I did not play in the tournament until my coach asked if I could pinch hit in the last inning with the winning run on base in the semifinals. I told him I could. I should have said I can't. I struck out. I took strike 3, I think because it hurt too much to swing. So if I'm Joe Burrow, take your time with this. Don't rush it back. Put on weight. Get your body back where it needs to be. And as long as he's ready to go in week 1, and it seems like he will be, everything's good.
Yeah, he should be good to go. And mentally, this guy has command of that offense like few quarterbacks in the league right now. The talk all offseason in LA has been the health of Matthew Stafford's elbow. The Rams QB said yesterday, though, all systems are go. You want Matthew Stafford to be right week 1, and he's, as I've mentioned earlier, one of the toughest players we've seen in probably the last decade plus in the NFL. But at no point in those comments does he say the elbow's not a problem or won't be a problem. He's managing the pain, and he's finding a way to get the work in that he needs to get done so that he's comfortable and this offense is comfortable for week 1. But I think it's going to continue to be a storyline throughout the season, because as we've mentioned, this is as healthy as you're going to be all year. There's not live bodies around you trying to take you to the ground, and the volume of throws can be managed. You can't really manage it in a game you're trying to win. So again, it's positive that it hasn't regressed over the last few weeks after Sean McVay said there were some things happening with that elbow. But until we get to week 6 and he's saying these same things and it looks the same, I don't think you can sort of put this to bed.
Yeah, I mean, he's a 34-year-old quarterback with a lot of miles on his arm, so to speak, and he's got an elbow problem right now. Now, he, as you heard him say, feels like he can do everything he needs to do. And Sean McVay has said he's throwing the ball the same way he's always thrown the ball. I'll take them at their word, but again, like you pointed out, they are acknowledging that there's real elbow pain there. He can play through it, it appears, but at what point does throwing the ball 35 times a game take a toll on an elbow issue that is already there? Hopefully he can play through the pain all season long, or whatever he has to play through all season long. But I think I'm at a point where I'll believe it when I see it.
Absolutely. All right, let's shift to baseball, and we'll get to your Mets, don't worry. But let's start with the Yankees, who finally won last night in dramatic fashion. Josh Donaldson with a walk-off grand slam in the 10th. This was a win that the Yankees desperately needed, GP.
Oh, boy, did they ever need it. Like, I have some friends who are Yankees fans, and I saw on Twitter after the Yanks went down 7-4 in the 10th, they were already like, I can't believe the Yankees just lost again. And then they get those bases loaded, and Donaldson takes a 97-mile-an-hour fastball and puts it in the right field stands. 10th walk-off grand slam in Yankees history. So they're now 9-17 since the All-Star break. That's not great, obviously, but they were on the verge of dropping to 8-18 since the All-Star break. I'm not insisting this is the type of thing that'll get the Yankees season turned around, but sometimes you just need a spark. Whether we're talking football, basketball, baseball, whatever, sometimes you just need this moment that just gets it flipped around, and perhaps for the Yankees, that was actually it.
Yeah, an extra inning grand slam to win it, I think, is a spark in pretty much any sense of the word. All right, so here we go. Mets finally won with GP in the Big Apple, and what a debut for Brett Baty.
It was amazing. A young man, 22 years old, first-round pick in the 2019 draft. Gets called up only because of injuries to Eduardo Escobar and Luis Guillorme. Keep in mind, he only got called up to AAA Syracuse last week. But they bring him up, his whole family gets to Atlanta, and on the second pitch he sees, the first swing he's ever made in the big leagues, homers to right. 2-run shot, and the Mets needed it because that game got a little uncomfortable and close late. It's worth noting, if you want to tie the Braves into this, a few years ago, Austin Riley got called up only because of injuries. And then he just started hitting, and he stayed up. It has never gone down, and now he's got a $200 million contract. Brett Baty, it might be a similar deal. I don't think the Mets wanted him up in August 2022. This is out of necessity. They are, in a division race. But if he keeps swinging a bat like that, he's going to have a place in the big league club for a while.
I love how the text chain with us and our producer Malcolm kind of ignited right after that play. The smile says it all.
Welcome back. Time to shine. I'm back in the host chair as we shine
loosening
on
up here.
Football. And Mac Jones, you saw it there. He believes in his offensive coaches, a group that includes Matt Patricia, Joe Judge. Is this way of doing things going to work?
We have no idea at this point. And I think we're all leaning on, or I'll say I'm leaning on, the benefit of the doubt for Bill Belichick. He's earned it, obviously, but this is very unique. You have a defensive-minded coach in Matt Patricia, Joe Judge, who comes from special teams, coaching wide receivers, some as what appears to be the two guys leading this offense. We still don't know who's going to be the play caller come week one, and it hasn't looked great by all reports during training camp. But this is how New England operates, or has operated. They are very much of, okay, let's try things and let's take away things that we don't do well. And then by week one, and sometimes by week 4, they've really kind of harnessed it and they're firing on all cylinders. But that was when they had Tom Brady. This is different with Mac Jones in year 2. It's a wait-and-see approach, so I'm going to wait and see. But it's definitely unique.
No surprise here, Evan, but quarterback Baker Mayfield is expected to be named the Week 1 starter for the Carolina Panthers. This seemed to be a foregone conclusion once he was acquired, right?
I think so. I mean, we mentioned it last week or earlier this week that it seemed to be Baker's job to lose, and he comes in motivated to prove everyone that he can still be a franchise quarterback. And I'm buying into Baker this year, GP, because he always seems to rise to the occasion when people doubt him. He's healthy. He dealt with that shoulder last season. That was a big reason why he had the statistical drop-off, as you can see, in 2021. There's some nice pieces around him with Christian McCaffrey healthy. DJ Moore is a top-tier wide receiver when healthy, and Robbie Anderson's a deep threat. So, look, I think the Panthers can make some noise in a weak division, and I think Baker's going to have a solid season that maybe rehabs his image in the league as a player. And I think best case scenario, it's a Ryan Tannehill situation. When he left Miami, he went to Tennessee, was a backup, which Baker doesn't appear to be at this point, and then takes over from Mariota, and now he's, a $100 million man.
Evan, we got real live football tonight. Seahawks, Bears. What are you looking for from quarterback Justin Fields?
I think the word that comes to mind, Gary, is progress. We just want to see progress from Justin Fields in year 2. look, ideally there would be this massive jump and he'd become a guy they know they can count on and they'll get ready to spend big money on. But this is an organization in rebuild mode. Matt Eberflus takes over as head coach. Luke Getzey's the offensive coordinator. It's his first time in that position. He was quarterback coach of Aaron Rodgers for 3 years. So the pieces are there to help build Justin Fields up, but he's got 4 new starters on that offensive line. This is a look at his offensive pieces. I mean, unless you're a in the weeds football fan, these are not a lot of A-list names, and I think that hurts Justin Fields' ability to make a massive jump here in year 2. But as long as there's progress and aspects of his games to anchor a belief that he could be the guy once they get more around him, that's the ideal situation. And look, that starts every time, or that's the discussion every time he takes the field, including tonight.
Cowboys Defensive Rookie of the Year, Micah Parsons. He says Dallas is adopting a lion mentality and that they want to keep hunting on defense. Do you expect Parsons to be great once again this year?
So Cowboys are out hunting. Are they hunting lions and tigers and bears?
Well, a lot going on.
One thing I'll say is, oh my, Micah Parsons is awesome.
There you go.
And Dan Quinn is one of the best defensive minds in the game right now. So absolutely, this can be an elite defense. They bring back pretty much everybody. DeMarcus Lawrence is there. They've been rumored maybe to get Roquan Smith via trade to the Bears, who would be a nice piece to allow Micah Parsons to just be an all-day pass rusher, because that's what. I mean, look at those numbers. I mean, surprised people last year. He came in as an interior inside linebacker, and then he just became this elite pass rusher. Look, I think Parsons is poised for an all-pro caliber year. This defense, I think, is going to have to carry the load early for this Cowboys team. So whether it's Lions, Bears, they're really going to be hunting Eagles, Commanders, and Giants. I think they're going to do pretty well.
Jameis Winston not going to play in the Saints' second preseason game on Friday. Got a foot injury. Are we in cause for concern mode yet with Jameis?
So he sprains the right foot on August 8th, so we're 10 days out. I think what's been the common belief among all teams and practice really has been caution when it comes to any sort of injury. But you see that brace on his left leg. He's coming off a serious knee injury. Now he's dealing with a right foot. So no, it's not ideal for a guy that's coming off that big of an injury to miss reps, now 10 days worth of them, and probably no more live reps in the preseason depending on things. But Andy Dalton's there as the backup. So, I mean, if you're a Saints fan, you look, if this extends into the season for some reason, we have a capable backup to step in there, because Jameis is still in prove-it mode himself. So, at this point, I wouldn't say it's overly concerning, but as the injuries pile up for Jameis Winston, that's not ideal.
Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe, and don't forget to hit the bell for more videos.